Hi, this is Al Silver again with another report from BankBuzzReport.com. This is a great website which fills readers in on what's happening in the way of world banking today, particularly a lot of articles here on CIC Swiss Bank, which is owned by CIC Credit Mutuel of France. This bank has been investigated for client theft. Clients' accounts were hacked, money was stolen, and they totally lifted their hands of any responsibility. And the clients suffered losses without any remuneration from the bank. Here's an article about bank employees arrested for theft of client information. Swiss police investigating CIC Swiss Bank for theft of customer funds. Now, one article in particular I'd like to report on today is this one, CIC French Bank being investigated for money laundering. And this is an article here which is written by a former bank employee. This guy's name is, about the author, Victor Van Zandt, who's an MBA in business and a PhD economist that worked for the bank, and he's just alerting people as to what's going on at CIC and many banks in general. This article, CIC French Bank being investigated for money laundering, also appears on Benzinga, Benzinga.com, and the article is entitled CIC French Bank being investigated for money laundering. Now, to get back to this article, you see that a lot of European banking authorities are investigating Credit Mutuel, CIC Group of France, who owns CIC Swiss Bank, for helping rich French CIC bank clients set up Swiss bank accounts at their wholly owned CIC Swiss Bank, headquartered in Basel, Switzerland. Governments are cracking down on people that are trying to get their money out of their homeland banks and into Swiss bank accounts to avoid tax liabilities. And this is a need that's being filled by CIC Credit Mutuel of France, in that they are sending their clients over to their wholly owned CIC Swiss Bank. And this is going on all over Europe. Money laundering in Europe is a national sport, ranking right up there with soccer, according to this article. Many European countries are socialist with high tax rates, and France has one of the highest. Therefore, it's no surprise that wealthy people are actively seeking to get their money out of the country to avoid the tax man. And basically, CIC Credit Mutuel Group is trying to retain their business by sending them over to their CIC Swiss Bank to help them get the money into another country. But until recently, this plan has worked for CIC Swiss Bank and for many other banks, as money flowed seamlessly from their clients' accounts in France into their Swiss bank accounts. However, as the old saying goes, good things come to an end. Governments have been cracking down on tax evasion and money laundering for years, and with some banks still aiding their customers in their efforts to hide their money and evade taxes, governments are cracking down on these banks, closing the banks, and the money that's in the banks that are owned by the clients, sometimes they get frozen, the monies get frozen, and the clients are left holding the bag. Like take, for instance, what happened in Cyprus. There's another mention here in the article about former French minister Jerome Cahuzac, which the French government was investigating for tax evasion. This guy actually said that I do not have a foreign bank account, but then the truth came out that he did, and it was a huge disgrace, which embarrassed the government of France and the president, Francois Hollande. Um, and this guy, Francois Hollande, the president of France, is fast becoming the confiscator the Great. That's his new nickname in the banking community as they try to crack down on people looking to transfer money. Now, there are a lot of French money laundering laws. So, I mean, if you have money in this Swiss bank, CIC Swiss Bank, be aware that at any time the French government could crack down on CIC credit each while, which would in turn affect your bank account in CIC Swiss. And just be advised that your money's not safe in a Swiss bank. And a bit of trivia for you: every day, over $1 trillion are bank wired all over the world. That's 365 trillion in bank wires every year. So it's simply impossible for governments to track all this money as it flies around the world. It's referred to as the bank wire shell game. Now you see it, now you don't. But governments are cracking down. So France has criminalized money laundering, and as it related to drug trafficking in 1987 under Article L627 of the Public Health Code. And now they've amended their laws so that in 2004, the French Supreme Court ruled that people could be prosecuted for two crimes: one, money laundering, and two, the underlying act as well. So, you face some pretty heavy penalties by governments trying to confiscate their money back. And keep in mind that the list keeps expanding in 2004 to cover accountants, auditors, lawyers, pension managers, and security dealers. What's going to be next? I mean, are they going to require store owners to report food purchases of over 100 euros in cash and charge them with money laundering for food hoarding? It's getting ridiculous. Governments keep working hard for people to get their money into. Governments keep working at making it harder and harder for people to get their money into a tax-free environment. It's perfectly okay for the government to steal people's money through confiscatory tax rates and a Cyprus-style confiscation of depositors' money. Remember what happened in Cyprus? That's not a money laundering crime when the government does it. It's only a crime when people that own the money try to do it. Make no mistake about it, the rich will continue to find ways to protect and save their money from confiscation and death at the hands of corrupt government officials. If they can't get a friendly bank to help them, then the last resort will be to take their money out of the bank and bury it in their backyard. Again, we must caution our readers to be very careful with whom you entrust your money. You could very well wake up like the people in Cyprus who thought their money was safe, only to find that the banks were closed and their money was frozen. So when the banks finally opened in Cyprus 2 weeks later, people could only get so much of their money out every day, and a percentage of it, from 10 to 70%, was confiscated by the EU central banks, and there were currency controls which prohibited people from wiring their money out of the bank. This is crazy. I mean, you put money in a bank and you think your money will be available to you, but that's not the case. You could lose your money, and nobody's guilty. So this article ends by stating, warning to our readers, this can happen anywhere. we are advising our readers that once again, get your money out of EE banks and stay away from Swiss banks, particularly CIC Swiss, which is owned by CIC Credit Mutuel of France, who are already under investigation on a number of counts of money laundering, criminal activity, of client funds being robbed, and the bank foregoing any responsibility in the matter. And get your cash. Maybe the best thing to do is hide it, buy gold, buy silver, store food and water. Like, we don't know what's coming, folks. You might want to bury your money in your backyard or your basement. At least you know where it is, and you can get to it when you want. A flash crash could happen anytime, so prepare for the worst and hope for the best. This is Al Silver. Again, check out bankbuzzreport.com, and I'll be back in touch with you down the line with some more articles about what's happening in world banking. Thank you. Thanks for listening.